to the marketplace, and especially going with intentionality to the businesses and entrepreneurs. And we saw this gap, and we knew that most of our clients that we service would never wake up on Sunday morning to say, which church am I going to attend today? Like, that wasn't anything on their radar. Church and God wasn't something they wanted to talk about. So I began to pray. And for 2 years, I really agonized before God, because I love being a landscape architect. I'm very creative. I'm an apostolic entrepreneur, meaning that I pioneer things and I start. And when I design landscapings, I just enjoy the newness. Like, every client presented me with the opportunity of a new garden that I would do, and so that was all great. But I knew God's taking me into a new season in life that was a holistic expression of who I was, because I understood faith and the reason for faith and the fact that we need to walk a seamless faith in the marketplace, but I wasn't seeing that done with the larger Christian body, with the larger church. And as I said, I began to pray for a couple of years intensely. And the Lord showed me that He's leading me into a vocational ministry. And I'm saying vocational ministry because all of us are ministers. I don't know where you're working, but wherever you work, you are a minister of the gospel. You just get paid by somebody else to do something else other than preaching on Sunday morning. I'm in vocational ministry because God brought the alignment of my desire to see people in the marketplace come to an awareness of who God is, with my preparation to do so. And the Lord took me into a new season where He would bring me behind the pulpit to prepare the people that are in the pews to go outside of the church walls again. So I've been walking this now for the last 12 years. It took me through certain journeys. I got my Master's of Theology to add to my Master's of Landscape Architecture. I really had to walk away from 4 businesses. I have an amazing husband that just joined me on that journey. And we knew God's leading us. So I added the theology degree, and then I added the doctoral in leadership degree. And part of my thesis, actually doctoral thesis, is embedded in this book, but it is so brought down, so don't worry about it. You're not going to be reading seminary language, but you would be reading a research that I did for a doctoral program that was very intense. And so what I did during that time is I looked at the spiritual currents in the West. What are we doing in terms of spirituality in the West? How are we Christian? Are we Christian in what aspect? So I have some good healthy statistics there, not to bore my readers, but just to stir the imagination to say, oh my goodness, if this is what happens, then how do we move forward? If this is the background, then how do we go forward? And so I looked at that, and I'm giving you very good biblical foundation, and I sandwiched that in the middle of the book because I wanted the beginning of the book to be very practical. So I begin with our story. If you pick up the book, you'll and get one for yourself. You will see that the book actually begins with a real life story. So that is told in our first chapter. And then every chapter, I have 10 chapters in the book, ends with an example of a church that engages the community well. How do they do it? And I really was looking for different examples, so they're not all entrepreneurial incubators. They do different things, but they really bless their community in a great way. And so the beginning of my book really gives very practical applications, both for church leaders, pastors, and individual believers, of how to be the church in the marketplace. And then in the middle, I put the theology, which is easy to digest. I had to shed my seminary language if I wanted to engage a broader culture, a broader readership. So that's not there. It's like thoughtfully reconsidered. So don't worry about that part. And then at the end of the book, I am actually talking about how to recalibrate the scorecard of the church. Because the church counts things. Like any organization, any nonprofit, any business counts things, right? You have to know if you're profitable, are you making it, like what it, so the church, and by the way, I just want to say, any organization, it's not just the church or nonprofit, counts three things, and they're three B's. They're budgets, bodies, and buildings. And we count them on Sunday morning, and we count the budget, how much does it cost, we count how many people, and we count the building, like how many, rooms of the facility, what does it look like? Now I have to be honest with you, because most of you are just our people, for the church plan. I have dropped counting people of the church plan a long time ago, because it messed with my head. Like, if I had to count always how many people are present and how many are not present, it's a difficult thing. I really gave that to the Lord, but not that that's a very good thing to do, but like for a while, to this day, by the way, for a while to this day, I have dropped counting. I'm praying for you, I'm praying for people to show up and to come, but I cannot allow the numbers to really mess with my head and my heart as I deliver on Sunday morning. But this is not the norm. Most pastors will count how many people are in the room. And again, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying, in that 9th chapter, I'm saying if we're going to count bodies, can we count the bodies that we actually reach during the week as well? And so we began to count the bodies that we reach during the week as entrepreneurs. We train them, we do workshops, we count the entrepreneurs that actually house themselves right here. We count the people that we reach in the community, that we gather for different expressions. We also count the Christians that we mature in the understanding of the work in the marketplace. So it's all good to count, but please, if we're counting bodies, let's count them way beyond the Sunday morning attendance. And then I talk about budgets. Like, are we going to look into how do we invest resources to help people find jobs, to maybe go to college, first generation college graduates, so they can change the lineage if we're really about poverty alleviation. How about if we change lineages? So I talk about what do we do with our resources way beyond counting how much money we spend on Sunday morning to have a production, for the church. And then the buildings. And that's a biggie, by the way, for a church community, because we all have a building, we are in a building, but guess what? Actually, by the time we started the party, you are not even in the same way the building was, because this is how we look during the week. This is the entrepreneurial incubator that we have. This is what we do during the week. We reach people outside of Sunday morning. We come alongside businesses and individuals that need our help in a different way. And so, but so many churches don't even consider that. We have spaces downstairs that we rent as offices. This, by the way, is only 3,200 square feet of a building. Combined, yeah, upstairs and downstairs. And most churches have many more times than this. And in the book, we have calculated, and we have the hundreds of how many people we have reached in the 3.5 years we've been open. So I'm posing the question, how can we do that better? If a small organic church plant, we didn't get people from another church to start this church. Nobody sent us with lots of money and lots of people. We all organically grow here. So if we can do that, and we're not from this area, we came, we parachuted in. God just brought us this direction. But like, if we can do that, then how about churches that have lots of people already, that have budgets and have big square footages buildings? Can the building be used for something beyond Sunday? Because if we're going to be talking about how do we embed ourselves in the community, how are we asking God to bless the work of our hands, What do we work during the week as a church, as the gathered community for the Lord to bless? In what way? So, so that's what I'm doing in 9th chapter, and in the 10th chapter, it's really cool because I have brought in practitioners and leading voices in the church world and the business, technology, entertainment, and media world that are Christians, that are devout Christians, and I'm asking them, how can we reimagine regaining relevance in the marketplace? When it comes to church and technology, church and business, church and higher education, church and entertainment, in media. And so it's interesting. It really gives a glimpse of these practitioners and church leaders that are giving their insights, their wisdom at the end. You know, what does that look like? So this book is a book of combined love, you know, that I have pulled together my love for the church and the lost in the marketplace, and calling all of us to say, hey, we can do better. We can engage our communities better. And also the contribution of 10 churches, you know, ours is one of them, but 9 other churches that actually gave me their stories that I am telling at the end of each chapter. So we see how other people, and I had to really look, I'm going to be honest with you. And even these other churches that I found, you know, the components were not all quite there, but they fitted somewhat, because there are 3 main components of Church for Monday, and it is they equip whole life disciples. Churches for Monday translate the gospel in a very tangible way to their culture, to their place, and they embed it in the economy. They make real difference for the marketplace in this city. So not all of them, you know, were able to fill all these 3, but it's okay. You know, I'm just really defining that. I am one of those leaders that's on the very front end in this country and beyond, you know. So and I'm bringing some of the really good leaders. You know, Barna is here. You know, David Kinnaman, Barna contribution in here. They're probably one of the largest Christian surveyor out there. They gave their contribution is actually, what are we doing with the Gen Zs? How are we gonna regain relevance among the youngest generation that now is beginning to enter our workforce? So it is a labor of love, and it's a labor of help as well. I do want to recognize Lacey, and Kelly is not here today, but Lacey and Kelly had so faithfully read through, edited, read through. So if you find somewhere, and then we submitted, I'm traditionally published, so my publisher is a traditionally, you know, published company that has her own editors, and when I was stressing out at the very end when we were submitting the last copy, and I'm still finding some spelling mistakes somewhere. And a friend of mine that leads, Edie Melson, that leads actually the several conferences, but one of the largest Christian writers conference, sent me statistics. And I don't have them right now to quote them, but she said, just keep in perspective that if your book is so many words, you're going to have, no matter what, so many mistakes. And since your book is that many words, you would expect to have that many mistakes. And I think we read expecting that we would have 0 mistakes. I'm just saying, be gracious. I don't think our brains catch all of it when we read anyhow. But it was very funny for us to find out after we read numerous times. So I just really want to say thank you, Lacey, and thank you, Kelly, for your help, for reading, for just being right there with me, being my plate catcher, you know, while I was doing so many things at the same time. And thank you for being here and celebrating with me. I'll go back there for those of you that want to pick a copy. The price is set by the publisher. For me, it's in the back. It's $14.99, and tax is a little bit over $1, so we're just going to say $1. So it's 15 plus 1. It's like $16. If you want to pick a copy, I'll be out there and signing copies for you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here today.